Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Renee McLeod, Dean of the College of Nursing. I want to welcome you to United States University's College of Nursing Orientation Webinar. This webinar will be a mix of pre-recorded sessions and a live session at the end with your program director or a faculty member who will be answering questions about your program. Please feel free to put any questions that you have or that arise as you are listening to the presentations into the chat box, and they will be answered during the live session. Please also be sure to mute your microphone as you listen to this presentation so any noise at your location does not disturb the others on the webinar. I'd first like to talk to you a little bit about the history of the college that you're coming to. In 2005, the California Wellness Foundation awarded Inter-American College, which was the name that we had originally, a planning grant to develop a nursing program. The institution submitted a feasibility study to the Board of Registered Nursing in 2006 to establish and operate nursing programs, and this was approved in June 13 of 2008. In 2009, Inter-American College began offering its first courses in this area. Inter-American College started with an entry-level master's. In 2010, the institution began to offer the MSN with the Family Nurse Practitioner emphasis. And the next year, the MSN in Education and Leadership were begun as 100% online programs. The MSN was accredited by CCNE in 2014, and we had our site visit for our continued accreditation of both the BSN and the MSN the second week of September, just a few weeks ago. We are currently in the process of a major change as we are being acquired by a new owner, Aspen Group, which should be effected by the end of the year. This change of ownership has already brought a new philosophy of funding education and making it affordable for everyone. This has also brought a new growth not only in students but also in faculty, and a new student information system and a new learning management system. So all the faculty are learning along with you. So give us a little patience here as we all learn together on some of the things that are happening. So our college is a reflection of the constant change that we are currently experiencing in healthcare. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got to this school. This year, I celebrate over 40 years as a pediatric nurse practitioner. Today should feel like the end to an amazing career, a career whose vision and mission was never to be an academic or a dean, a career that has led me to 8 states and overseas. But when I reflect back on this amazing journey, it is my passion and love for what I do that makes me realize that today is just another beginning. Each of you have traveled your own path to get here today, and now each of you get to join me on this journey. You are a very special group of people because this will be a very special education. You will be learning from an amazing group of faculty who share a vision. Each of us know that the timing of this education is occurring at the perfect moment. The environment of chaos, the tipping point for you, is now. Now is the time that we can make a real difference and change healthcare. And this curriculum that you're fixing to embark on is designed to give you the tools to be an innovative leader of change. The environment where you will be practicing will be changing rapidly over the next few years. You will be providing care not only in offices and community centers, but you will be going to the home or to the workplace, either in person or using the latest technology and telehealth to not only treat your patients, but to manage chronic disease and to motivate your patients to stay healthy. You'll be the care coordinators of your patients as they navigate through an increasingly complex healthcare environment. To prepare for what the future will be bringing, we will be teaching you using the latest technology. We have a telehealth station planned for our lab to give you real-world experience, and each of you will receive a telehealth certificate upon graduation, as telehealth curriculum has been embedded throughout our curriculum and your program. We also have created an emergency nurse practitioner option for those of you who decide you want to work in the emergency department or urgent care center. The emergency nurse practitioner certificate is an add-on that can be added to the end of your program, or you can wait a while and take it as a certificate after graduation. Our goal is for you to be successful in your journey to the nurse practitioner role and into your future career. We have recently implemented several different strategies to help you be successful. It starts with Weaver Reading, where we want to assess where you are in your reading comprehension skills and help you improve these skills because the evidence clearly demonstrates that students with better English comprehension skills do better on their certification boards. Instead of taking the GRE or TEAS exam, we're using one tool to assess reading comprehension, and this is critical. We're also giving you software to help you with your organization, to allow you to learn your material by listening to your lessons and to get your material translated into your native language if English is a second language. We'll also be providing you with a list of software resources you will have at the point of care that may be loaded onto your iPad, tablet, or phone. I want to end this introduction with one quick story that I recently read. I was recently given the book, Who Gave Me This Truckload of Dung? It is written by a Buddhist monk and is a collection of stories about dealing with adversity. He tells the story of the business professor who, without explaining what he was doing, carefully places a glass jar on the desk. Then, in view of his students, he brought out a bag full of stones and placed them one by one in the jar, until no more could go in. And then he asked his students, "Is this jar full?" "Yes," they all replied. Then, with a smile, he brought out a bag full of gravel. He then manages to shake the smaller stones into the spaces between the bigger stones. A second time he asked, "Is this jar full?" "No," they answered. They were on to him now. They were correct, of course, for the professor produced a bag of very fine sand. He managed to coax much of the sand into the spaces between the stones and the gravel. Again he asked, "Is the jar full?" The student said, "Probably not, Professor, knowing you." Smiling at their answer, the professor brought out a small jug of water. When no more water would fit in the jar, he put down the jug and looked at the class. "So what does this teach you?" he asked the students. "That no matter how busy your schedule," offered one student, "you can always fit something more in it." It was a famous business school after all. "No," thundered the professor. "What it shows is that you want to get the big stones in. You have to put them in first. It's a lesson in priorities. This is really going to be important for all of you in the next 2 years. So what are the big stones in your jar? What are your priorities for this next 2 years? We're really hoping that those priorities are not things like getting married, getting a divorce, having a baby, losing your job, or any of those things, because those can be so disruptive to your education. But we do want you to remember that it's most important to fit the most important things in your life in. So you want to be sure to schedule in those precious stones first, or you'll never get around to them, to fit them into your day. So maybe that's a walk, or that's meditation, or that's time with your children or your significant other. This is really important given the fact that we have students all over the United States. And this last term, our new students were affected by Harvey, by Hurricane Irma, and most recently here in California, we've had students who lost their homes to fire in Santa Rosa. We know how much life actually interferes with what goes on with school. So it's important that you put your family and their safety first. And those other priorities that you have in life, that you take time for them. And you take time also to schedule time for yourself. Going out for that walk, doing that meditation. Those things relieve the stress that is being compounded by being a full-time student, when most of you are also full-time nurses and are working, and you have families and you have life. So it's very important that you think about those things. It's also critically important that when life does happen, you talk to us. The worst thing that can happen is that, and which often happens when you have an emergency in your life, is you kind of drop off the face of the map. You just become silent. It's critical during this next 2 years that you don't do that. That when life happens, when something occurs and it stops you from doing the work that you need to be doing in your class, you let your faculty know, the class instructor. If you can't get in touch with them, you talk to your academic advisor. If you can't get in touch with them, you talk to your program director, and if you can't get in touch with them, you call me. It's really important that you stay in touch with your faculty because if you're absent in class, the technology that we have actually records your participation in class, and when you're not participating in class, it will automatically remove you, and suddenly you'll find yourself not being a student anymore. So we really want to know, because we can stop that process. We can extend those assignments due to extenuating circumstances, but you have to talk to us. So the biggest thing I want all of you to know is that we're here to help you to be sure that you're successful through this program, but you have to communicate with us. I've learned that the most critical thing about dealing with online faculty and dealing with online students is that communication is the very most important thing. And while I'm talking about that, a text message to your faculty is not an official communication. We really need you to use your email. And after this webinar tonight, the only way we'll be communicating with you is through your USU email. So we want to be sure that you're using that as your main form of communication. If you need to send a text because you critically need to get in touch with somebody right away, that's fine. We just need to follow it up with an official email or a phone call. So please be sure to stay in touch with us. We're very excited to have you here as students, and we want to welcome you to United States University.